Enabling SIP mobility requires that the NetVanta 7100 WAN interface be connected to the public internet with either a static or dynamic IP address. If you do not have a static IP address and your service provider provides an IP address via DHCP, then a dynamic DNS hostname can be set up to allow remote access. If the NetVanta 7100 is not used as the Internet router, the port numbers assigned in this tutorial must be port forwarded from a third-party router to the NetVanta 7100 network interface. This tutorial will cover the steps necessary to securely connect a remote phone from the Internet to the PBX. Step 1 is to log in to the management interface of the NetVanta 7100 GUI and expand the Voice section. Click User Accounts to create a new remote user or edit an existing user. To create a remote user, click New, enter the extension number, enter the first name, the last name, and then click Apply. To enable this user account as a remote phone, click Simple Remote Phone. This feature allows remote phone registrations only to user accounts enabled as simple remote phones. Click the Generate Random Password button to create a unique 16-character alphanumeric SIP password. This strict password will be used in the soft phone configuration to register back to the PBX. Be sure to copy and save this password for the soft phone configuration. You can email the password to your mobile device so that you can easily copy and paste into the soft phone configuration. Click the Voicemail tab and select an appropriate voicemail class of service, and then click Apply to save the remote user account settings. Press OK to acknowledge the SIP authentication password has changed. Step 2 is to configure the SIP server for secure remote communications. Select SIP server settings from the Voice menu. To ensure that remote phones authenticate before every call, check the local SIP server authentication checkbox. Enable the Secure Remote User Blacklist option to block unauthorized SIP registration attempts to the remote user accounts. When blacklisting is enabled, the system monitors the secure SIP port for SIP register and invite attempts from the remote users that fail to authenticate. The blacklist attack threshold indicates the number of failed authentication attempts allowed for the remote voice users before placing the offending IP address on the blacklist. The blacklist timeout indicates the number of seconds an offending IP address will be blacklisted by the system. The default time is 1 hour. After the timeout period, the offending IP address will be removed from the blacklist. The system polls the blacklist every 60 seconds to check for users who may have cleared the blacklist. If the timeout period is set to 0, the offending IP address will remain on the blacklist and will not time out. However, a reboot will clear all blacklisted entries. Select a unique SIP port number between 1 and 65536. Click Add SIP Port, select UDP from the protocol drop-down list, and enter the unique port number you have chosen. Check the Secure Remote User checkbox next to the port and then click Apply. Following the ADTRAN documentation, we are using UDP port number 25069. For security purposes, you should use a different port from the one used in this tutorial. Step 3 should be followed for users with a dynamic IP address assigned by their service provider via DHCP. This procedure will set up a dynamic DNS hostname that will allow remote access from the Internet. Click the System menu to expand, and then click Physical Interfaces. In this configuration, we are using Ethernet port 00 as the WAN interface. Click Ethernet 00 on the list of physical interfaces. For this procedure, you will need to set up a dynamic DNS account at dyndns.org. Once you have set up an account and hostname for your PBX, scroll down to the bottom of the page and select Dynamic DNS. From the drop-down list, select dyndns.org. enter your dyndns.org host name, your account username, and your account password. Under the Media Gateway settings, ensure that the IP address type is selected as primary. Now press Apply. Upon successful dyndns.org registration, the time and date of the registration will show in green letters. If it is not successful, it will be noted in red letters. If so, verify your host name, username, and password with your account credentials from dyndns.org. More information on configuring dynamic DNS using dyndns.org can be found on the ADTRAN Support Forums website and referring to document number 2298. In order to use the dynamic DNS host name for the remote phone registrations, the host name must be added to the configuration so that the PBX will allow the remote phone registration using the host name. Select Hostname DNS from the System menu. Scroll down to add your dyndns.org hostname in the Host field, followed by your voice VLAN IP address, and click Add. Step 4 configures the firewall to allow the remote phone to register from the Internet. Select Data to expand the menu and select Security Zones from the bottom of the list. Select the Public Security Zone, and then click Add Policy to Zone Public. From the drop-down Policy Type list, select Allow, and then select Continue. Enter a policy description such as Remote Phone Traffic. From the Destination Security Zone drop-down list, select Self-Bound. From the Protocol drop-down list, select UDP. In the Allowed Ports, select Specified, Equal to, and the port number you created in the SIP server settings. When complete, press Apply. To prevent losing your configuration changes, always save your configuration after each step in this tutorial. For this demonstration, we will be using an Apple iPhone. Open the App Store and search for Bria. Click Install. When installation is finished, open the application. From the Setup screen, press the SIP button. Click Account Name to enter the extension number. For Display As and Username, enter the extension number. Enter the SIP password, followed by the dyndns hostname, and the port number. For the voicemail number, enter *98. Scroll down and click Account Advanced. In the Account Advanced menu, scroll down to the SIP registration section. Change the Wi-Fi refresh interval and the mobile refresh interval to 60 seconds. Scroll to the top and press the New SIP Account button on the top left to back out one level. Click Enable to register the softphone and press Save. Click the phone icon to exit to the telephone interface. Your softphone is now ready for use.
Thank you for calling ADTRAN.
Premium features are available to purchase in-app and include the G729 audio codec and video calling. The G729 codec can be used to reduce bandwidth and is required to listen to voicemail in the NetVanta 7100. Video calls enables point-to-point video. By selecting Preferences in the Settings menu, it is advised to disable the Run in Background feature to conserve battery life. You may also want to enable use on the cellular network instead of Wi-Fi only. You may desire to disable video while on the cellular network to conserve bandwidth. Be advised that Voice over IP and video calling uses your cellular data plan and can consume high amounts of data. For example, video calls can consume 512 kilobits per second, and G711 and G722 voice calls can consume approximately 87 kilobits per second. G729 calls use reduced bandwidth and consume approximately 31 kilobits per second. From the Settings menu, press Advanced Settings. Scroll down to the Audio Codecs section and select Mobile Audio Codecs. The NetVanta 7100 supports G722 wideband audio or HD voice, G711 MULAW, G711 ALAW, and G729 codecs. All other codecs can be disabled. From this menu, you can enable or disable codecs and prioritize codecs that will be used while on the cellular network. Click the Wi-Fi Audio Codecs button to enable or disable codecs and prioritize codecs that will be used while on a Wi-Fi network. You may desire to use a higher quality codec such as G722 when on Wi-Fi. To enable video calling to VVX video phones, click the Video Codecs button and disable the VP8 codec, leaving only H.264 enabled. Click Apply Changes and your soft phone will be fully enabled for use. This concludes the tutorial for enabling SIP mobility on the NetVanta 7100. Although this tutorial demonstrated how to configure the softphone on the Apple iPhone, it can be adapted to Bria for iPad, Android, Windows, Mac OS X, and Linux Ubuntu using the same softphone configuration options.